Paddy Andrews. You're delighted. You're absolutely delighted. Like, your reaction, I don't think the press box has ever seen that reaction before. You were in tears.
Yeah, look, I think just seeing the lads there, you kind of got the sense this season there was obviously all the guys going back, Pat Gilroy, Stephen Cluxton, Jack, Paul Mannion. I just got the feeling all season that the lads were just going to get this done by hook or by crook. It's been a tough couple of years for Dublin. Obviously they've lost big games, they've been questioned, to be fair, that they haven't played well at times in that as well. Losing to Mayo in 21, probably losing that little bit of aura that had been built up over the years, and then losing to Kerry last year in heartbreaking circumstances. So this was a special season for them. You got the sense all year long about that, and then to come in against Kerry today, just the way they've won this game today, like the performances, like Stephen, Michael Fitz and James winning 9 All-Irelands, history makers on their own, and the performances they put in today, like Fitzy and Clifford and Cluxton, was incredible. I think every Dublin supporter knew this team is a part of your life, like these players, and I couldn't have been happier. I was only that All-Ireland win for those guys nearly means as much as Ed and I did when I was on the pitch, because I know how much they put into it. Dean Rock to come on and get the last score of the game. We don't know if we're going to see all these guys again. They can still do it. It's totally up to them, but that was a special day. Special day.
Just on that point, James McCarthy was asked in the press conference, you got the band back together. Is this the band breaking up again? And he sort of paused and he said, well, it's not a bad way to go out, is it? And then he said, but I'm not making any hasty decisions. He's going to wait and see, sort of thing. And it was the same for Dean Rock. I just spoke to him there as well. But you can't but feel this is maybe the end.
Okay, you don't know, and I've said this loads of times on the podcast as well. When players come to the end, and had it myself, it's a very personal decision.
Yeah.
Those guys don't owe anyone anything. Look at what they've done today again. The only thing I'd say, it's going to be very hard to top this. To win that All-Ireland, to beat Kerry, to win the All-Ireland again. Look, we all know, and there's plenty of time to make decisions like that or to make calls like that. Those guys have given their lives for this team and for Dublin GAA. Not just those guys, there's so many players involved in that group. And it's a new team. It's moved on from Jim Gavin's team, and that's the credit Desi Farrell deserves as well. Like, Desi's been under pressure at different times over the last couple of years, but that's a second All-Ireland in 4 years. They are absolute credit to themselves, to that group of people, to Dublin GAA, to all the supporters around the city. And today and the next week or 2 weeks is about enjoying it. What they've done, they've achieved something incredible. And if any of those guys decide to say, do you know what, maybe that is the best way to go out in 2 or 3 months' time, well, they'll be celebrating all over again. But if they don't, and if they come back, and you have to say, you look on the pitch today, that's the pinnacle of the game, and these guys were still absolutely delivering under the biggest pressure, so they know they can still do it. Look, we'll have to wait and see, but today, tonight, the next week or two is about celebrating these guys, and I probably will be celebrating with them at some stage, alright?
You're itching to get out there. I'll let you go soon, I promise. But bringing it back to the first half, the first score of the game after 4 minutes, Stephen Cluxton, 45. Was it a bit surreal? It was like reeling in the years almost to watch him out there doing that again.
Yeah, but he's been exceptional since he's come back. He's been absolutely outstanding. He'll probably be an all-star goalkeeper again. I know people were kind of questioning at the time, is that Dublin need to try and move forward, but why, if Stephen Cluxton, one of the best players in the history of the game, and still I think the best goalkeeper of the game, makes himself available to play and wants to come back and give the lads a dig out, of course you're going to take him in. And I thought his performance all through the summer, but particularly today, I thought he was outstanding. Kerry go after him as we knew they would. They were brave, they were playing on the front foot, they were pushing up on all of Clucko's kickouts, and he was just getting them away all the time. Total another composure, total another confidence in his ability. And that's the beauty of having him back in the Dublin camp. And yes, David O'Hanlon and Evan Cumberton, these guys, they'll have their time, and they're exceptional goalkeepers in their own right. But Stephen Cluxton is still the man, and his performance today, the 245s he kicks, the roof nearly lifted off the place. So it kind of just set the tone. But there was heroes all over the pitch for Dublin. They were pushed to the pin of their collar today. Kerry, the defending champions, particularly in that third quarter, they start to get on top. They go 3 points clear. Paddy Clifford has a massive influence on it. But down the stretch, you always felt that Dublin, if there was nip and tuck coming into the final 10 minutes, you're just going to back the lads to do it. The strength of the bench, the impact McCaffrey had. Fenton, I thought, had an outstanding final quarter as well. The biggest players make the biggest plays at the biggest times, and I think that was the difference today. Those individual battles, I think Dublin just shaded a few more than the Kerry, and that's the 2 point difference.
Yeah. Well, the goal just before the break, Paul Gainey, that was to go in a point up at that point. It felt like a bit of a lifeline for Kerry.
Yeah, look, I thought Dublin were probably the better team in the first. It was pretty cagey. out there, to be fair. Conditions were difficult. The two teams know each other so well. It was so intense. You could see the matchups all over the pitch. So there was a lot of turnovers. It was tricky enough conditions. It was cagey. But I thought Dublin probably shaded. I thought Paul Mannion was outstanding throughout. He was Dublin's best forward. He gets 2 points in the first half. Con is probably pretty quiet by his standards, and you think Dublin are going to do enough to go in front at half time. And Geaney gets that goal. A bit of genius from Clifford in the corner. Yeah. Look, he didn't have one of his best days, but he makes that pass. Geaney just gets in behind Davy Byrne. It's a brilliant finish by him. And Kerry, I'd say, would be relatively happy at that at half time. Having not played their best stuff, to be going in a point up, and then they have a big third quarter. Brian Howard gets the first score of the second half. But then Paddy Clifford kicks into it. He's a massive influence in that third quarter. Gets 3 points from play. Dublin are struggling with him. Clifford gets another point from play himself, and you feel, is he going to go off on one here? But Dublin's goal is massive. It's the time it comes at, how they get it. A big turnover on Gavin White. Kind of an unnecessary turnover from Kerry's point of view, but Colin Basquel does incredible work. And to be fair, the block, I think Paul Murphy it is who gets a dive and block on Paddy Small. That probably helps it go into the net. I'm not sure it was going to go in. I think Shane Wright probably will save it on Paddy Small's right foot, but he gets 1-1 today himself. I thought Colin Basquel in the second half, 2 points from play as well. These are the younger guys standing up and delivering for Dublin, and I think Dessie Farrell deserves massive credit for creating that environment to give these guys that platform. Yes, Kilkenny was back at the tee, probably didn't have his biggest game, but times the final quarter I thought he was really influential. But it was those newer guys all through the season who have massive games. I thought Lee Gannon had a brilliant first half. Costello was probably a little bit quiet in the final, but Basquel gets 2, Paddy Small gets 1-1. That's what's created. They've supplemented the legendary Dublin players, and for what Dessie Farrell and Mick Galvin and Darren Daly, Brian O'Regan, all these guys over the last 4 years, they've helped create that. Dublin needed to evolve as a team from Jim's time, and for Dessie to have 2 All-Irelands in 4 years and to win that one today with that group. That's why it's so special. Anyone who loves Dublin GAA, who cares about those people down that pitch, it was a special win for Dublin. This is right up there with anything they've done in the last decade.
Yeah, James said that it was his best. He feels that this was the best one yet. But for a Kerry point of view then, like, do they play maybe a little bit conservative than maybe they normally would?
No, I think Kerry went after it as well, but I just think Dublin didn't allow them to get up the pitch as easily. We touched on it there with James and Tommy just for the pod. We thought Dublin's work rate up front, which it needed to be, was savage. They stopped Gavin White coming up the pitch to great effect. They got a clamp on Dermot O'Connor around midfield. I thought Fenton and McCarthy won that battle. And the big thing was trying to cut off that supply line into David Clifford, and that just takes unbelievable concentration, unbelievable preparation and unbelievable focus, and the tackling and the work rate from Dublin. They didn't allow Kerry to play their normal game. And to be fair, Kerry were trying to do the exact same on Dublin side, and for large portions of that game it worked for Kerry as well. These are the 2 best teams in the country. I don't think there's any way you can deny that after today. They both play on the front foot. They both backed themselves to win this game, but Dublin just had that little bit extra. Yeah, Kerry tried to play the right way. They were trying to get the ball to Clifford, trying to get Sean O'Shea into the game, and at times they did, but just not enough over the course of the 70 minutes. And you look at the real match winners today, you'd say Cluxton, you'd say Fenton, and you'd say Mannion. They came up massive trumps for Dublin when it mattered most. And David Clifford, he scores 2 points from play, but he's 4 or 5 misses. And Mick Fitzsimons is just all over him like a rash. Incredible job by Fitzy. He probably shades that battle despite Clifford still getting his 2 points from play, and we knew the build-up was all around. If Dublin can kind of contain David Clifford to a point, which they did, that would be enough to win in the game, and that's what's happened.
Yeah, the bench probably in the end made a big difference, but Killian Spillane coming on for Kerry, would you have liked to have seen him earlier? He did really well when he got on the ball. He's
a great record against Dublin. His first touch when he comes on, he kicks a point and you're thinking, Jesus, not again. But look, he's had a tough run with injuries. He's only just back after missing a couple of months. I'm sure Jack wouldn't really toyed with the idea of maybe starting Killian Spillane if he'd had a lot of minutes under his belt, but that's just the challenge. They lost Tony Brosnan during the week as well. Yeah, you got the sense that Kerry's bench was a little light in comparison to what Dublin had on offer. But that's just the nature of it. It's been a really long season. There's been lots and lots of games. It's been a new structure in the championship. Teams have been under pressure at different stages. Kerry and Dublin themselves have struggled at times throughout this championship and not played their best stuff. But the reality is, like there's a point in it, in injury time. You know, and Dean Rock gets the final free and Dublin end up winning by 2. But that's how tight the margins were. It's one turnover or one score. David Clifford clips one of those scores. It could be a different story. And Kerry could be sitting here as All-Ireland champion. So that's the margins when it comes to an All-Ireland final. They've been outstanding champions. They've been 2 or 3 minutes away from going back to back for the first time for Kerry since 2007. An exceptional team. They'll be back again.
They'll be back.
This will hurt them, of course, but you look at the age profile of the team they have. They've got outstanding players. Clifford is going to go on. He'll win more All-Irelands. But today is about Dublin. You have to say that. What they've done, the players involved, how they've gone about this journey, and to come back after those 2 years of hurt, losing to Mayo and Kerry over the last 2 years, it's a special day for that team. And as James McCarthy, what a better way to have a final word than James McCarthy saying this is the sweetest one yet out of all 9 All-Irelands, and he's been so pivotal in all of them, along with Michael Fitz and with Cluxton. It's a special day for Dublin. I think they deserve it in the end.
And for you watching on, this is the first All-Ireland final since you retired.
Yeah.
It was a nervous watch. You were on edge.
Yeah, well, just a fan, of course. Any Dublin fan. That's what you become when you stop playing. You're a fan before you start playing for Dublin. When you play, you can't really be too emotional. And you have to try and focus on performance, and that's just the nature of playing at an elite level. When you're out of it, you do just fall back into being a fan again. And I was just nervous. I really enjoyed this week with a lot of our ex-teammates, catching up with a lot of the guys. I'll catch up with a lot of the lads this evening as well, and probably over the next couple of days. But I was just excited for what was a brilliant game of football today. It was tense, maybe at times it wasn't the highest quality, but it was so intense and nervous, of course. But just I wanted the lads, more so than every Dublin supporter in here today, just wanted the lads to win this so much because you knew how much it was going to mean to them. And they got over the line in the end. And I'm as happy today with the All-Irelands I won as a player, because I know what those guys have done. I know what those guys have sacrificed. And Kerry, I'm sure, have as well. But it was just special, the scenes afterwards, seeing Jack and Kieran and Desi Farrell. What an unbelievable... I'd only 1 year playing under Desi. Special guy, an incredible servant in the Dublin GA. And it's just vindication for that whole group. And it's, as a Dub, I know that's meant to be impartial, but I'm just delighted, as I'm sure any Dublin supporter is.
Right, well, I'll let you go enjoy it. Let you go get a pint.
Thanks, Ash. I might have one now. Need to get my voice back.
Oh, good stuff, Paddy. Thanks so much.